What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if you're just getting here. Today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple different videos that y'all voted on. I'm going to put them together in the same video because one's going to be like super short, another one could get a little bit lengthy. So let's go ahead and roll the intro on this video. Let's start breaking this stuff down and get into it, guys. Videos that y'all voted on, and I've done a list of videos in order based on the votes. This is going to contain, in this video is going to be the pent up energy video, how to use that to your advantage, and also the hands-off hunting video. So we'll get right into that in just a second. But before I do that, first things first, guys, if you're just getting here and you haven't been around the channel and you haven't checked the stuff out, I mean the links in the bio and things like that, you guys need to definitely go over to Facebook and check out the hound training tips and advice group that I put together for y'all. I'll have a link for it down in the description. This is the group picture right here. This thing is really taken off, and I've put this group together for you guys to get in there and share ideas amongst each other and have a good place to just share some good training, right? Some good training exercises that we go through. A lot of good stuff happening in that page. Another one that you guys can go to is the Millbrook Hound Training Outdoors Facebook page. There's not so much stuff happening on that one, but that is actually the Facebook page for the YouTube channel, so you guys can check it out there. You guys also need to get down there and check the contact and all that stuff. You guys can send me emails and do things like that. I've been thinking about putting up a P.O. box. Maybe you guys want to mail some stuff in. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But we're trying to get the channel growed up and hit that 1,000 mark, and we're getting pretty close, you guys. So if you guys are just tuning in or you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure you get down there and hit that like and subscribe button, because on the other side of me having to do the giving y'all the advice and bringing to you guys what I know about coon hunting and what I know about coon dog training, I do have the YouTube side of this thing, so I need to grow the YouTube side. So let's get that pushed out there and get that thing solidified, and let's make it to the 1,000 subs. Don't forget, if y'all want to get early access to videos or anything like that, check out the memberships down there too, because I just went ahead and did that. So, and a big shout out to Jeremy Harden. You are the first and only member so far, and hopefully we can keep growing that thing. I really greatly appreciate you, man. That is just awesome, and I really greatly appreciate that you went ahead and signed up to be a member. And anybody else, y'all feel free, man. Check it out. So let's go ahead and start breaking down these videos. The first part that we're going to break down is the hands-off training. So I talk about hands-off training mainly, and I've brought it up mainly around the idea of comp hunting and that kind of idea. And when we understand what hands-off hunting is actually all about, that is when we're going to get into the real thick of it, right? So if you have to put your dog in the woods and you're in a situation to where you cannot handle your dog, you're not supposed to call your dog, you can't shock your dog, you can't anything, right? The dog is there, it's doing what the dog is doing, and we have to suck it up and deal with it. And sometimes it's very good and sometimes it's very bad, right? So sometimes the dog can put you in a really, really bad spot in that idea of the hands-off world. So this is what I kind of train for, especially on the coon dog ticket, right? So on the coon dog side, we need to push them until they go on their own, and then we need to back off and let them go on their own. And the better that they can be out there and doing their job without any help, without us having to babysit them, without us having to constantly correct them, constantly shock them back, or anything like that, give them commands, put them back on a leash, anything to do with handling or talking to or directing that dog in any way, shape, or form needs to be peeled back and needs to be cut off, and that dog needs to be completely 100% efficient on its own and completely independent from you in the woods. Now, when we are talking about starting dogs, and we're talking about pups, and we're talking about young dogs and green dogs and dogs that don't go so much, these are the dogs that are definitely not in this category of this hands-off kind of idea of hunting. So when we're in the hands-off idea of hunting dogs, this is the goal that we need to reach, especially if we are going to get into the comp world of ideas. Now, on the channel, if you've been around the channel, you know I put Tilly in that comp hunt. Tilly is a long shot away from being a hands-off dog, in the sense that she still kind of needs to be directed and still kind of need to be coaxed around in the woods. With that being said, she is very well on her way to be a hands-off dog. Now, there is a certain point in time where I'm going to draw a line and say you are either a hands-off dog or you're not a dog for me, right? So we have to absolutely have boundaries, absolutely have goals set, and we absolutely need to pay attention to where our dog is to be able to make a good decision whether or not this dog is working or not working, based on the amount of work that we put into it, based on the amount of stuff that the dog is actually performing, etc., etc., right? So we have a whole list of things that we can go down to go ahead and be like, is this dog actually ready for hands-off training or hands-off hunting, rather, in the woods? And is our dog to a level to where we feel confident that we can cut a dog off and be hands off with that dog? But we need to peel that back as soon as we feel confident the dog is absolutely ready, or if the dog is absolutely needing that extra push, that extra nudge to go ahead and become a hands-off hunted dog. So for the most part, coon dogs are very, very, very quick about this. Sometimes they linger, sometimes it'll take them a while to do it. Sometimes it becomes kind of a headache and you start kicking yourself in the butt a little bit going, I wish you would just get gone without me, right? So, and I've talked about this, I've had videos on this specifically on how to get that to happen. But the hands-off thing is kind of a different idea in its own, right? Because we have to completely let go of the reins and let the dog go do what it's going to do, and it has to be able to do what it's supposed to do, right? So the next part of this video, and where I pack these together, is because that first part's a little bit small, right? So it's a little bit short, and it's also been covered here, there, quite a lot in the channel. This next part, I've mentioned it here or there a couple different times, but using pent-up energy to our advantage, right? And this kind of lends its hand to cold starting a dog. So I've talked about cold starting on the channel quite a lot in a lot of different videos, but using the pent-up energy specifically. Okay, so what we can do is we can run a dog in the woods until its energy level just kind of plateaus, right? So we'll put it in the woods, and then it will just go like this. Okay, I'm not going any faster. Okay, I'm running this speed. Or they will deteriorate and they will go down, and their energy level will come down and come down and come down until we eventually have a dog that when we first put it in the woods that first night, it was looking great, it was moving fast, it was doing everything it was supposed to do, and then over time, hunting at night after night after night, its level has diminished and it's kind of just went, I kind of turned into a slug, doesn't want to go. So the way that I like to remedy this, the way that I like to treat this is you're going to slow down, you're going to shut off, you're going to be a slug. We're going to put you out in a kennel. We're going to put you out on the chain. We're going to put you up, out of sight, out of mind, right? And we're going to leave you out there until you start giving me behaviors that tells me that you're fed up of being out there, right? And a lot of dogs, it'll happen for them really quick. But I like to burn on them for a while. You know, I'll let sit them out there and let them marinate for a good long time. Make sure that they're really, really itching to go, right? Make sure they're really itching to go. And a lot of bad behaviors, right? So we can put a dog up and cause it to have these pent-up energy, bad behaviors, digging, climbing, barking, whining, whatever the case may be, jumping around, all this stuff. When we're trying to use that bad energy and that bad behavior to our benefit, we want them to behave that way, right? So we want them to start getting uncomfortable. We want them to start getting pent up and feeling like, man, I really need to get out. I really need to go do something. I really need to get out of here. And they'll start chewing on stuff, barking, whining, all this stuff. And when they really start in with this behavior, they'll do it consistently, right? So typically, like around here, the way that I have my dogs set up and the way I do my dogs is they come in the house at night. Now, out of all the dogs that I got, Tilly is the only hunting dog that I had, and before that, Cash was the only hunting dog that I had. So my house dogs, they sit back there in their cage, and when morning comes around, they don't make too much noise. They get put outside. Tilly is ripping and roaring every morning about 7 o'clock, right? So about 7 o'clock, she's back there. She's whining, she's barking, she's ready to go. Now, if I keep her in the woods, it's not so bad. She's not really doing it, but the more that I keep her back there and I don't take her in the woods, the more hyper and the more aggravated that she's not going to the woods at this particular time in the morning back there, and this kind of builds into the rituals thing. So if we build a ritual with a dog and then we break a ritual with a dog, it will really put a thorn in their side, right? And we can use that to our advantage. So if we take a dog to the woods every single day at 7:30 at night, right? So if every single day for like a week or so, we're going to the woods at 7:30 at night, 7:30 at night. When we put them in the cage and we skip 7:30 at night going to the woods, they know it. They're upset. They don't like it. They're not having a good time, and they're gonna cause a fuss about it. And then we've burnt them, right? So the next night we burn them again. The next night we burn them again, right? So they're really starting to understand, like, man, he really isn't taking me, right? And then they start getting this bad behaviors growing, and they'll start acting out about it. And once they get really good and wound up about not going, and they really want to go, when we take them back to the woods, it can almost transform a dog, right? So the pent up energy will come out. Sometimes it's really, really good, right? So, and other times, depending on the maturity level of your dog, say if we have more of a puppish, more of an immature dog, when we use the pent up energy in the woods, when we take them out, they will want to try to play and zoom around, right? They're not so much into hunting. They're more like, oh, I'm free. I get to do what I want. But if we have a dog that has kind of a hunt mind, right? They want to be out there to hunt. When we take that dog and we put it in the woods after pinning it up and getting that bad energy that they're brewing out there, and they get out there and get in the woods, it's almost like they got a vengeance. They almost got like a, hey, I'm going to show you. You put me up for a week. You know, they get something in them. And it's really good way to recoup a dog, for one. So if we've put a lot of hunts on a dog and we ran it quite a lot, and say we're keeping a consistent schedule, and we start breaking that schedule to use it in our advantage, maybe our dog's deteriorated off, when we go back to the woods, the dog's going to look a lot better, you know, and it's not going to be so ran down. It's going to be fresh, but also it's going to have all this energy, and it's going to be ready to rip, and it's going to be ready to roll. And how that dog decides to use that is definitely going to be the inkling to you how long that we should be letting them do this, or how much we should be pinning up and using this pent up energy to our benefit and to our advantage. So this is something that I practice quite a lot, especially if a dog starts looking kind of dull in the woods. You're getting pinned up, and you're not going to get much interaction, and we're going to kind of isolate you off out there until you're really ready to do work, right? Because dogs are very much so social and very much so interactive, and if we cut off all interaction and all socialization from them for a few days, and then we bring them back out and we go, okay, you're ready to socialize, but this is how I'm socializing. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going in the woods. This is what we're doing when we do any interactions. They will fold, right? So especially if they've had a stubborn streak in them, if we consistently do this, we can break them down over time to where they will fold into the fold, and they will conform, and they will go ahead and give you what you want. Because 9 times out of 10, and coonhounds are exceptionally smart animals. They really are. But 9 times out of 10, that dog knows exactly what you want. Weeks, days, possibly even months before it will actually do it for you, right? So, and a lot of dogs will be this way. A lot of dogs, especially stubborn dogs. Stubborn dogs will definitely be this way. And it would be kind of that thing to where you see them put it together and they do it, and then they just said, okay, that's all you get. You're not getting anything else, right? So kind of in the boat with Tilly here. So after that comp, I took her out. She went 2 for 2. She slammed trees. I mean, she was on fire. She was looking like a rock star. And then after that, she's kind of like, you know, I done my job. Which big, huge thing happened today, which it's so bittersweet, is I ran her out on some private land. She killed a squirrel on the ground. I was astonished, and I was kind of infuriated at the same time, because I'm bringing you out here to work on tree work, and you're going to go kill one on the ground. So, I mean, I was really happy for it, but at the same time, I was like, man, I really wish I could have got this little dog treeing today, but she just had to one-up me and get it on the ground. But anyway, that's kind of like, I kind of was playing that game with her, pinning her up and keeping her pent up for a few days to try to make her shape up a little bit in the woods. And it worked. You know, she went out there, she was a rock star. She was moving around great, but she just didn't end up treeing because she killed it on the ground. And, you know, that's as good as it's going to get. And we're going to keep knocking that out, you know, and cold starting a dog and using the pent up energy to your advantage. These kind of things and these kind of methods will help you manage and control the dog's temperament, help you manage and control the dog's, momentum and things like that. So we need to pay attention to how we pen them up, when we pen them up, when's a good idea to, when's a good idea not to. All these kind of ideas we need to have floating in our heads when we think about this whole idea of cold starting, or this whole idea of using pent up energy to our advantage. Now, I am a huge proprietor, and I almost do it instinctually anymore, cold starting a dog. I want a dog that's ready to rip when I bring it out. I don't want a dog that I have to warm up for 3 or 4 days. So what I'll do is I'll cold start them, put them up, cold start them, put them up, cold start them, put them up. And I'll kind of keep repeating this until they start actually doing what I want them to when I bring them back out. And once they do what I want them to do, then I'll bring them back out for more. And I won't cold start them so much, right? So it's kind of like a lot of these dogs, they have to learn in kind of an odd way. They have to learn in other ways than, you can't talk to a dog and say, hey, this time when I bring you out in the woods after you've been pinned up for a week, you're going to have to do what you're supposed to do, or you're going to be pinned back up. They don't really understand that. You can't talk to them like that. We talk to them through our actions. We talk to them through interaction, and that's just kind of how we communicate, right? And I'm a big proprietor of cold start, and I'm a big proprietor of pinning them up and using that pent up energy to make them malleable and make them go ahead and fold and do what you want them to do, right? A lot of times when you get a lot of good success out of this, we need to watch what we're doing here, because I've said it on the channel so many times. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing, and a bad thing is a bad thing, right? So we have to have a balance. We have to strike balance in all of our trainings, and that's just kind of where it's at, guys. I really hope that y'all enjoy this video. I know there's a lot of information, and there's 2 different videos and whatever else have you guys, but I really appreciate everybody's come in. I'm going to get a shout out video out to you guys soon. We have a whole lot of outreach happening. Don't forget to check out the Facebook pages and the Facebook groups and the emails and that whole idea. And guess what, y'all? Go to dogandhunt.com, get you some hunt gear. Go to dogshare.com. Go ahead and use Melbrook5 for a discount over there on that. Go ahead and check out a Nook Shook dog food. I'd highly recommend that dog food. And we're just going to keep on rolling the ball. I might have some really cool stuff coming up here, maybe to do with some handling things. I got some works going on in the background, and we will see how that all plays out and what happens for that. But y'all stay tuned. Keep them treed, y'all.